Assalamualaikum
Assalamualaikum
warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.
Today we will show you a biography of the father of algebra. His name is Muhammad ibn Musa Al Khwarizmi. Al Khwarizmi was born around 7 AD CE in the region of Khwarazm, which is now known as Khiva, Uzbekistan. His full name tells us where he came from. Al Khwarizmi means the man from Khwarazm. Unfortunately, not much is known about his childhood. We don't have records of what his early life was like, or many details about his family. What we do know is that his father's name was Musa, and many historians believe that Al-Khwarizmi was of Persian descent. He grew up in a region that was already rich in culture, trade, and science, so it's no surprise that he developed a love for learning. From a young age, he is believed to have studied subjects like math, astronomy, and geography, which were highly valued in Khwarezm at that time. After some years, Al-Khwarizmi traveled to Baghdad, the capital of Abbasid Caliphate. At that time, Baghdad was not just an ordinary city, it was the center of what we now call the Islamic Golden Age. Knowledge from all over the world flowed into Baghdad: Greek works, Indian texts, and Persian manuscripts. The Caliph at that time, Al-Ma'mun, had founded a great center of learning known as the House of Wisdom, or Bayt al-Hikmah. Imagine a place like a mix between a university, a library, and a research lab, filled with scholars translating, preserving, and building upon earlier knowledge. It was here, in the House of Wisdom, that Al-Khwarizmi became one of the leading scholars.
Surrounded by the works of Greek thinkers like Euclid and Indian mathematicians who had developed the decimal system and the knowledge of Persian scholars, Al-Khwarizmi began to combine these ideas with his own insights. Around the year 820 CE, he wrote his most famous book, called The Compendious Book on Calculation by Completion and Balancing. In this groundbreaking work, Al-Khwarizmi introduced something completely new. Instead of solving problems one by one with complicated geometry, he created a systematic method of solving equations. He showed clear, step-by-step instructions for solving linear and quadratic equations. This was the birth of algebra. The word itself comes from the Arabic word al-jabr, from his book's title. Now, because of this contribution, Al-Khwarizmi is remembered as the father of algebra. But his influence did not stop in the Islamic world. A few centuries later, in the 12th century, his book was translated into Latin, and it became a foundation of mathematics in Europe. For hundreds of years, European scholars studied his methods, which shows how important his work was to both the East and the West. Now, let's talk about another of his great achievements. Al-Khwarizmi also wrote a book about how to use the Hindu-Arabic numeral system, the number 0 to 9, including the concepts of zero. Now, this system originally comes from India, but through Al-Khwarizmi's work, it spread widely across Islamic world, eventually to Europe. Before this, Europe used Roman numerals, which were clumsy and difficult for complex calculations. But now, the system we still use today, the decimal position system, became standard. Imagine how much harder math, science, or shopping would be if we still used Roman numerals instead of 0 until 9.
When his works were translated into Latin, his name Al-Khwarizmi was changed to Algorithmi. From this came the word algorithm, a concept that is now at the very heart of computer science and technology. Isn't it amazing that a man who lived over 1,200 years ago gave us a word that is essential to the computers and phones we use every day? Al Khwarizmi also contributed to astronomy. He compiled a famous set of astronomical tables which included detailed calculations about the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. These tables were so accurate and useful that they were used for centuries in both the Islamic world and Europe. They helped people track time, create calendars, and even navigate long journeys. In the field of geography, he revised Ptolemy's geography. Al-Khwarizmi corrected mistakes and produced more accurate maps of the known world. His work improved navigation and cartography, which was especially important for travelers, traders, and explorers. He also developed mathematical methods to determine the Qibla, the direction Muslims must face during prayer, showing how science and religion were both connected in his work. Al-Khwarizmi continued his scholarly activities in Baghdad throughout his life, writing more books on mathematics, astronomy, and geography. He remained a respected figure under the patronage of the Abbasid caliphs, who recognized the value of his. He passed away around 850 CE in Baghdad, but his legacy did not die with him. His books were preserved, translated, and studied for many generations, influencing scholars across the Islamic world and medieval Europe. His legacy reminds us that knowledge has the power to cross borders, languages, and even centuries.
Another part of Al-Khwarizmi's life that people don't know about is his work in geography. In the year 833 CE, he once made a book called The Image of the Earth. He didn't just copy old maps, he fixed the mistake the earlier geographer has made. For example, he fixed the position of some rivers or cities based on newer informations. The improvements he made helped mapmakers and sailors create better maps and plan safer journeys. Merchants who traded across long distances could use his information to get on safer journeys. Even astronomers found his data useful when they needed more accurate locations.
Finally, his work in astronomy and geography shows how knowledge can be both practical and meaningful. His tables helped people tell time and navigate journeys, while his maps
Wassalamualaikum
made the world
warahmatullahi
even clearer
wabarakatuh.
and more accurate. He even used science to help Muslims find the Qibla for prayer, showing how knowledge could connect with faith. In the end, Al-Khwarizmi's ideas shaped the way we study, calculate, and use technology. His influence is all around us in the numbers we write, in the math we learn, and in the technology we hold in our hands. His story proves that the knowledge of one person can continue to guide the world for.
Thank you so much for listening and watching our biography of Al-Khwarizmi. He was the founder of algebra. Thank you. We really appreciate it and we hope that it will be useful for you in the future.
Wassalamualaikum
Wassalamualaikum
warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.